welcome you guys. Thank you so much for being here. As you know, my name is Wendy Leach. I am a local attorney and board member for R.E.S.T.O.R.E. And we really wanted to sit down with some employers, some of the people who have employed the women from R.E.S.T.O.R.E., just kind of talk a little bit about your business, how they've impacted your bottom line, why you hired them, and a little bit more about kind of you working with some of the women from our organization. As you know, R.E.S.T.O.R.E. is a local Jacksonville organization that really specializes in working with and finding housing for and job placement for women who are formerly incarcerated. So thanks for being here today. So would you introduce yourself and your business if you don't mind?
Yes, hello, ladies. So I am Canedra, sister with R.E.S.T.O.R.E. You could call me Sunshine. I like that. I'm from Jacksonville, born and raised, and the name of my business is Graze Craze. We are a franchise model, and we are here in the Jacksonville community.
And what does Graze Craze do?
So at Graze Craze, we specialize in curating beautiful charcuterie boards and boxes, and we have the capacity to feed from one person with individual cups and boxes up to hundreds of people with our grazing tables. So that's what we do. We just specialize in that. And we do also do like little sandwiches and sliders and things of that nature for a little bit more sustenance. Okay. But overarching, bottom line is charcuterie.
Okay. Graze Craze. I love it.
Thank you.
So you'd introduce yourself, please?
Cool.
Yeah.
My name is Chris Brown, Chef Chris, and I have the nonprofit that partners often with R.E.S.T.O.R.E. We are the Empowered Kitchen, and we help women in the food industry launch their food businesses and work in the food industry. So we help with job skills training. We do a lot of placement. We're just very happy with our relationship with R.E.S.T.O.R.E.
Well, thank you for being here today. We appreciate that.
Yes.
All right. And please, Teia.
So I'm Teia Anderson. I am co-owner of R.E.S.T.O.R.E. Baking Company. So we are a sibling-owned bakery located on the north side of Jacksonville. And the four siblings opened the bakery about 3.5 years ago as an honor to their parents' legacy. Mom and Pop have been baking these delicious treats for over 40 years, serving them to hospitals. My father-in-law is retired JFRD, and so he's well known across the community as the Cookie Man.
All right. I love that. So it's R.E.S.T.O.R.E. Baking Company.
Baking Company.
Okay. And R.E.S.T.O.R.E. Baking Company covers all of Jacksonville.
So we have a storefront over on the north side, and we also have a food truck that we support local churches and other businesses that want to provide something for their employees. We also have a pop-up shop down in Tampa that we do twice a month on Sundays.
Okay. Well, I think we've got all the food covered, which I love because eating is one of my favorite things to do. So
Yes.
let's talk a little bit about people that maybe you would employ. I would first ask each of you, and it doesn't really matter who goes first, but what do you look for in an employee? If you're looking for somebody that you want to work for you, what kind of qualities are you looking for?
So I'll start. So we're a family-owned bakery. All of our employees, or most of our employees, are family, cousins, uncles. So one of the things that we really think is important is for integrity. We really value our employees' integrity. We want to make sure that they honor
That value that you guys have. It sounds like it's really important to you.
Yes.
Yeah. So integrity is a big one.
Yes.
Okay. Trustworthiness.
Yes.
I would assume.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. How about you, Chef Chris?
I think ours is, along with integrity, is being on time and being able to communicate. That's a big issue. If you are going to be a few minutes late, that phone call doesn't need to happen when you're already late. It needs to happen prior to,
All right.
because you're going to be running late.
That's a big issue we actually hear from a lot of employers. It's just dependability.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's a big one for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Communication on time. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. How about you, Sunshine?
So definitely all they said, integrity is important. Being able to communicate effectively is important. Being on time is important. I think for me, drama-free zone is very important.
Okay.
Leave the drama at the door. Yes, leave the drama at the door. This is a place of love and, bring the right energy. Having the right energy is so important to our work environment. It's like a drama-free zone. But also when you come to work at my establishment, I just want you to bring the love because everyone can see the love in the food. And so when you're curating sports, you just need to make sure you're putting, some effort into it, but just a lot of love.
Yeah.
And so long as we're drama free, good energy, and bringing the love, we're good.
Okay. Those are all good ones.
Yeah.
So when we, first of all, how did you find out about Restore? Each of you was there a connection somehow? Or?
How I came across Restore was through my mom. So my mom is with her church. She's a missionary, and so they do a lot of outreach, a lot of good work in that way. And so she was connected to Restore, and they had some type of like meeting, and I guess they were giving a donation to Restore. And at that meeting, my employee, Miss Barbara, she was at the meeting with Miss Rebecca. And so my mom,
We're talking about Rebecca Davis,
Rebecca
who's the
Davis,
executive
right.
director of Restore.
So
It's amazing.
Right. So at the so my mom called me and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I think I found somebody who can work for you because she's interested in culinary, and I want you to reach out to Miss Rebecca and see if if you can get in contact with her and maybe interview her." And so that's how I kind of learned about Restore, learned about Miss Rebecca, and learned about my current employee, Miss Barbara.
So how did you you hired your first employee from Restore? Were you concerned about it in any way? Did you have any reservation?
Because I do think that people make mistakes in life. And so I was like, well, I did want to know, what did you do? Of course, and that was a normal, question. What happened? How'd you end up in this situation? So she explained it. And, life happens where we do make bad choices, or, we have to deal with the consequences of our actions.
Right.
But, I think in speaking with her, interviewing her, getting to know her, I think that, sometimes everybody just deserves a second chance. And so she's been great.
That's wonderful. It's good to hear. Yeah, a lot of women, I mean, they come out of prison or jail and they're not under supervision anymore. They've done all of their time, but they're trying to just get a job and pay taxes and be a citizen like everybody else. And not everybody gives them a chance. So I appreciate you giving her a chance. It's been great. Okay. How about you, Chef Chris? How did you find out about Restore?
I actually met Rebecca prior to the launch of Restore.
Oh, wow.
I had an event space downtown and my catering company, and I actually hosted their first fundraiser. And we had a blast. We met each other, we clicked. I already consistently had been hiring for 10 years people that had come through the correctional system. So when we met, it was like a synergy, and we stayed friends, and then we both have grown together
Well, it
pretty
sounds like
much.
it was an easy decision for you to.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Wow, that's great. That's great. How about you, Teia?
So Rebecca is actually my cousin. Our hospice. Yeah, so we have been early supporters
More
of
family
Rebecca.
connection.
Yeah. So before, when this was just a vision and a passion for her, we financially supported her. So we've watched this project just develop on all levels. And so a couple of years ago, when we were ready to open, we were looking for an additional employee, and she brought a name to us, and we interviewed her, and we trust Rebecca wholeheartedly. And so anybody we knew that she would bring to us as a recommendation is somebody she felt like was ready to support our business. So we were more than happy to give her a chance, bring her on board, and it worked out well for us.
That's wonderful. Well, what a lot of people don't know is that Rebecca and the Restore organization, they really do focus on the hiring's later. They focus on accepting women into the program who have already been working in prison on job skills and self-improvement. So she's really looking for people who already are showing that they're ready to go and they're ready to do the things that are necessary. And so when they come into Restore and they have their nice stable housing opportunity, she's gotten into job training, gaining some work skills and getting ready to go. What we found, and tell me if you think this is true, is that they're really ready for work. They want to be there. They're very dedicated employees, and they are the on-time people and hardworking people with integrity that you were talking about. Tell me if that's met your expectation as well.
For me, I think it has exceeded my expectations.
Really? Tell me why.
Because sometimes when people have been kind of out of the workforce of like everyday living, outside of I guess the prison life, I don't even know what that's like. But actually kind of like come back and get reacclimated. You don't really know what to expect. So they don't know what to expect from me as a person or what the work environment's like. I don't really know what to expect from them. But I think just treating her like an everyday person has just been awesome. And so, like I said, she's just exceeded my expectations because she's very flexible. If I call her and say, hey, can you come early? Can you stay late? She's willing to do that. She does communicate very well. And she
She
just
wants this job.
she does. But she constantly tells me, thank you for giving me opportunity. Thank you for trusting
That's
me.
gotta feel good as an employee.
Yeah, it has been great. So I said, so I think that's why it has exceeded my expectations because of her, just like I said, her work ethic has just been great.
I think that's interesting because we hear so many employers say that the work ethic is the thing that's missing. That people just want to come in and get a paycheck, but they don't really want to do a whole lot.
Right.
And so what you're giving is kind of the opposite, that they really do have
Yes,
that.
and I have to say all the time, like I'm a new business owner myself. So I'm a new entrepreneur. And I have to say, a lot of what I'm doing is all new for me. So we're still learning like our SOPs, what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so she's been very flexible with that. And then she's been very respectful of the fact that she knows that, everything that we have at this point, I've had to like put in my own money. So she respects it as if it's her own project, and so she brings a lot of integrity to the project and to what we're doing. So I appreciate that.
Have you found the same, Chris, and people coming to work for you that they're really wanting to be there, ready to work,
Oh, yeah.
prepared?
Well, you have to figure when somebody comes from four walls where the walls look the same every single day, nothing ever changes. Um, you're told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Now you're in the world and all they want to do is please and work hard and grow themselves.
Yeah.
That's all they want to do. And, luckily, Restore has partners in the community that don't just look at a resume or don't just look at an application. We look at a person. So every person's story is different.
Yeah.
So every person's background is different. If you checked off that box that says you committed a felony, you don't go into the off pile.
Right.
You go into hey, this might be a good person.
Yeah.
Let's talk to her.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You have to have community partners that can look beyond that checked box.
Right. Yeah. Great. Nice. Great point. Tia, how about you?
Yeah, so the person that we ended up hiring came from and had skills with baking. And so that was one of the things that Rebecca shared with us and one of the reasons why we said, well, she might be a great fit.
Yeah.
And what we found is she was ready to jump in, ready to begin developing some of her own recipes. And so that was one of the big things we wanted to do is as a bakery to develop some of our own recipes outside of our mom and pop. And she was willing to jump in, get creative, lots of R&D to make it just right. And two of the recipes that she actually helped us create, we still have in store. They're very popular. They're one of our most popular cookies.
So she's helped your bottom line.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Wow.
And it sounds like a lot of this, the theme I'm kind of getting from this discussion is that the women coming to you really wanted to work, really wanted to have that job and have put a lot into it too. Showing maturity, I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We hear a lot about sort of a laziness a little bit. I mean, have you found any of that? It sounds like no from your descriptions.
No, I think the only thing I would probably say has probably been the hardest for me with my employee from the store is maybe like, because when you say, when you're told what to do this, do this, do this, I think sometimes it's like, a little bit micromanaged. Like, tell me exactly what you want me to do and I'll do it. And I'm like trying to, and sometimes I say, I'm trying to empower you. You make the choice. You can do it.
You can imagine how hard that is for someone who has not made a choice for themselves.
Right. And so I'm constantly trying to empower her to feel like I can make the choice, I can choose what's best and be confident in that. So I think that's probably been the only change, the little bit of, trying to disconnect, but just trying to empower her to feel confident enough to say, I can do this.
So a lot of employers, I think, appreciate somebody who you tell them what to do and they do it. So it sounds like that's a good thing. At the same time,
But I don't want to micromanage, I don't want to say do this, and I'm telling you every single thing to do. I want her to feel empowered that she can make a choice and that it will be a great, decision and we can roll with it.
it sounds like that what's happening for her at work is probably going to help her in all aspects of her life. So, because that's a big one. A lot of people at work want to be empowered, right?
Right.
You're right. If you've come from that environment, it's probably feeling like,
I don't want to mess up. Well, I'm just, and you kind of walk on eggshells. And so trying to make her comfortable and, and just kind of move her away from, it's okay. And if you're not sure, just ask. And then, we can talk through it because you might have a great idea or you might do something that worked really well. I didn't even think about that, So just trying to get, think let's work together. This is really this collaborative partnership.
Yeah.
Is how I see it. You know.
What's been the best part of bringing on if you can kind of compare and contrast the women from Restore that you've hired versus just average Jill off the street? What has been the benefit that the women from Restore bring that the average person does not, if you can think of something like that? So,
Oh, I think that's easy. Go ahead.
Yeah, like you said, yeah, they want to work. We found that the employee we hired was so grateful and so thankful for the opportunity. Because you just don't have businesses, as Chef Chris said, they look at the resume and just cast the person out. And we have really found that she has been an invaluable member of our team. And even we didn't hide her story from any of our employees. So even in them
About that in a minute.
sharing and knowing that information, it has shown us just opened up a level of, yeah, you can make a mistake. You can be down on your luck, but grace is given to everyone. And that's something as a family that we really value as well. So
and it's interesting to me because you had mentioned how interwoven the family is his business. This is a family business, but this person has blended in seamlessly, it sounds like.
yes.
Okay. So talking a little bit about what you just mentioned, because I had questions about that. I'd had people say, well, if one of these women come to work for a car dealership or a kitchen or wherever it might be, does everyone know that she was formerly incarcerated? And it sounds like in your situation, the answer was yes, everybody was aware. Any thoughts on that? Is that something that some businesses might want to keep on the down low versus letting everybody know? And it's probably also up to the woman herself whether she wants everyone to know. But how have you guys handled that in your businesses?
For me, I talk to them from day one because I have a large catering company and we do everything from weddings to bar mitzvahs to, large events, small events, in-home parties, everything. So I let them know right away that when somebody hires me, they know that everyone that's in my kitchen, if you look around my kitchen, everybody that's in my kitchen has come from something.
Okay.
Everybody in there has had a second chance. I know I've had multiple chances in my life.
We all have.
But
Sure.
yeah, they needed that second chance. And the biggest thrill for me as the employer is watching their self-confidence.
Right.
And then they have other people in the kitchen to help them. If they start to stumble, there's somebody going, "Hey, you okay? You all right?
So
You good?"
empathy in that group of employees, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And for you, a lot of trust. These are folks that are coming in and putting on big events for you and catering and serving.
And I'm right there beside them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I set it up and then go, "Okay, I'm out."
Yeah.
So I'm right there with them, step by step by step, from preparation to execution. So, when people hire me, they don't have to worry about it.
Well, you mentioned building confidence because a lot of the women that Restore really want a job, but they also want a career. They are looking for long-term success. They want to be sustaining themselves. And so being able to stay with somebody, feel trusted, feel empowered, and learn the skills to be able to embark on a career is really important for them. And it sounds like they're getting that at a lot of your organizations.
I think so.
Good.
I think so.
So, any thing that you would say to an employer who says, I don't know, what's the benefit? Because I know that there are work opportunity tax credits, for example. There's $2,400 a year tax credit for hiring a formerly incarcerated person. I know there are bonding, $5,000 bonds that are free that, you can get for hiring a formerly incarcerated woman. So there are things like that that might sort of protect a business and help with offsetting the training costs for someone. But what else would you say to an employer who's going, not really sure, convince me that I should do this?
Well, I can say to that employer, get with Restore because I believe that they have not only just, trying to, they're vetting the ladies. I think they've been very selective about who they're allowing into their program. And then once they're bringing the ladies into the program, they're doing everything that they can to really help them be rehabilitated. be ready, prepared for jobs, so teaching them training skills, having counseling sessions with them and talking through their issues and, getting them to open up and learn more about themselves, maybe learning about the challenges that got them to the point that they were in before, but also just turning a new leaf. I mean, I think like we talked about grace, we all deserve grace.
Yeah.
And so I would just say, if you're looking for a program that is more than likely going to really be able to help you find the right fit, Restore would be great. Now, I can't speak for any other programs, but
Yeah.
for my situation and my experience, I think Restore has been great. So I would just say, just give it a chance because, you never know until you try.
Well, I'm glad you brought up some of the things that Restore does because they do offer all of those things, counseling,
Mhm.
financial literacy,
Right.
for the women to know how to save money and tuck it away and use it the right way.
Correct.
They have so many different skills that they teach them to be ready for work.
Right.
So, yeah. What would you say to an employer, Chef Chris?
I get to say it often.
Okay.
But I ask them first, what's the culture like in your company? And if you don't think somebody is a fit,
Yeah.
is it on your end or is it on her end? Because it takes a culture to cultivate an individual. You're giving them the opportunity to gain self-confidence. And in return, you're getting loyalty and production like you've never seen it before.
Right.
So,
I think the loyalty thing is so big. We keep kind of coming back to it in different ways, but you're right. You want somebody who's going to be a long-term employee, who's going to stick with you, who's going to come to work every single day. I mean, retraining someone is expensive and time consuming, and you never even know if they're going to work out. It sounds like right? Tell me a story. Is that true?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we, in the past couple of years, have had several employees transition out. And it's always difficult trying to, as you mentioned, train a new person, all of the skills, because we believe, everybody is hands on. So whether you're register, baking, rolling, whatever you're doing, everybody needs to know how to do it all. So it does become quite a burden when you have to retrain.
What are some of the things where people don't make it? And I know that Restore women are not in that category. So, but what are some of the things that that employee didn't make it? And here's why.
So some of the things that we've all talked about. So being on time, communicating when you're not going to make a shift. For a small business, that is make or break. When you've got two people scheduled to work and one calls out 30 minutes ahead of a shift, it is, it is that way. So communication, that's probably our biggest one we've had with employees. And I keep looking at Chef Chris because I know she mentioned that employees that we've had to transition out or have chosen to transition out, communication.
What about how they work with the women from Restore who've worked for you, how they've worked as supervisors? Have you had any issues with them saying, I'm not going to listen to that person? Or how do they work with supervision? I know that they get a lot of training in communication, communicating with colleagues, communicating with supervisors. What's been your experience on communicating with supervisors and or colleagues at work?
I haven't had any issues.
Okay.
I think my the young lady who works with me from the store has been very communicative. She speaks with everybody, doesn't find it, a hard time because I've actually already kind of promoted her to like the team leader.
Oh, wow.
So, in being her the team leader, she's like literally leading and helping people kind of stay on task.
How did she feel when you gave her that promotion?
I asked her about it. I said, "Hey, do you think that this will be something that you're interested in? Because I think that it's a good fit." And because what it is like for me, being a new entrepreneur myself, I cannot be in the kitchen all day, every day, monitoring every single thing that's being done.
Sure.
That goes back to the empowerment piece I was talking about. So you can make the call if I'm not here. But because I have to get out in the community, I have to network and I can't grow the business and be working in the business at the same time all the time. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not willing to asking anybody to do something I'm not willing to do. So that means I'll jump in, prep, wash dishes, sweep, mop floor, whatever needs to be done, of course. But, so giving her the opportunity to grow into that position, like I said, it's been great. And she doesn't have a problem, kind of leading or, telling people, hey, this is the next task or hey, this is what we're doing. So it's just been a good experience so far. Overall. All yeah.
Okay. What about you guys? Communication with colleagues and supervisors. Any issues there?
I don't really have that issue because I am the supervisor.
But was it be really nice to you, I guess? Yeah.
Well, I always start out the same way. When I first meet somebody, I tell, if they're coming in to work with us for even for a day or 2 days or whatever, I say, what's your name? And it never fails. It has yet to fail me that they will say, my name is such and such, and I am just been released, or they start to tell me and I'll go, stop. When you walk in this door, you are your name.
Yeah.
You make
Person.
you start over right here. We're okay.
Yeah.
I know, but we don't need to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to ask you a bunch of questions. We're just going to get to work.
Yeah. Right.
And so they go, "Oh, okay." So it's kind of different, but I am the supervisor. So they're literally working right next to me.
Yeah.
And then I'm supervising, and then I'll go and wash the dishes because I would rather wash the dishes because it's peaceful. So you'll wash all the dishes and you keep working.
You can come to my house then, because I've much for you to wash this.
It is peaceful.
Well, you mentioned you don't want to know about backgrounds that doesn't matter to you. I think that there are certainly some employers who want to know. And certainly we're wide open, right?
Yeah,
To know,
that's
because
okay.
women typically, especially women who with felonies, or the men are more violent, typically crimes. Women are less violent, so we don't typically run into issues but some people really want to know, what did you do? How long was she in? What was going on? And I think it's fair that employers want that information because it's their business. And so I think we're always really wide open about it. But I also appreciate that some people go, you're out now and you're fine. So let's go get to work.
Yeah, and it's like that was said. I trust Rebecca.
Mhm.
She's not going to send me somebody that is not going to be a situation where it's not going to fit.
She's pretty
So-
choosy, and you mentioned that, Sunshine, and it's really true. She
Right.
vets people, and she's very choosy. She actually also makes sure, and I've been to some of the prisons and talked to some of the women. I'm a newer board member, but I've been a few times, and the prison world is sort of something I've been involved with for a very long time. But she said to me, when you get their information that they might be interested in the program, I'm going to wait. I want to see if they actually email me back, because they all have email.
Yeah.
And it's the ones that are really on top of it and email back and say, I've been doing this program. I'm really interested and I want to be there. Those are the ones that she's most interested in because they have the motivation. So
That's right.
what about the colleagues and supervisors at the bakery, R.E.S.T.O.R.E bakery?
So I was going to say, one of the things Sunshine mentioned was empowerment. And that's one of the things we've had to work with our employee because she wasn't really empowered to make decisions on her own. She was very apprehensive to, not take an order right. Or what if I, forget to place this order or forget to put this in, and so making mistakes, because I think that typically, or maybe her past experience mistakes have been maybe held over her head, and they come with major consequences. So that's one of the things that we've really tried to work with, is to empower her to, everybody's going to burn the cookies.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to mess up an order at one time. Somebody's going to show up. Something's going to be missing. And, we pivot, we fix it, and we learn from it.
Right. And that doesn't matter if you're formerly incarcerated or not. If I went in our kitchen, I'm sure I would learn something. Is there anything else that you guys can think of that we haven't really touched on? You think it would be important? Someone's watching this and they're kind of interested in employing a woman from R.E.S.T.O.R.E. Is there anything that I haven't touched on that you think is important that you want to jump in with?
I would just say it can be scary to think about. And so, we're all one decision, one bad choice away from something. And by the grace of God, we've, turned out okay.
Yeah.
And so I would say to people who are thinking about it, give people a chance. Give people a chance. We have seen just the power of allowing somebody to come in to really feel like family. So my mother and my father-in-law, we call them Diva and Papa. Everybody does. And so our employee does. And so we've really seen the power of just grace, forgiveness, and just being open and allowing people to come into our space.
Sounds like she's appreciated being folded into the family a bit. So that's wonderful. Do you have anything, Chef Chris, that you would add?
The only thing I would tell people is to ask people that do employ,
Mm-hmm.
you know, how satisfied are you?
Yeah.
You know, we can come to roundtables and we can tell you how great it is, but walk into our businesses,
Yeah.
come to Arbel, come to,
Great, great.
yes,
Yeah.
and see it. We're not going to point out who in the building, but you're going to see the cohesiveness of the building.
Yeah.
Correct.
And once you see it, and once you've experienced the positivity and how much it comes back to you, that's the difference.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
How about you?
So for me, what I'm going to say to anybody watching this or, this roundtable is instead of Indeed and all those other sites, I'm just going to call Rebecca for all
Yeah,
my
because you had
employees.
good experience.
Because I've had a really good experience. And like we talked about them being loyal, them wanting to work, showing up on time, getting the skill sets that they need. And I've already told Rebecca I need another employee. So if I can get more of the same, yes, I mean, that will help me build a strong team. Because at the end of the day, that's what I need. I don't need anybody that's fickle. I don't need anybody who says, oh, I want to work, and they just show up for a paycheck. But I really want somebody who's going to come and help me build my brand, because at the end of the day, I'm building this from the ground up. Eddie,
Yeah.
I'm only a year in. So if I can find strong people now who do want to be with me and go along this journey with me, that's what I need. And so I think that this will be, I would say, instead of going through those other platforms to look for services or folks to work for you or women, I would say definitely choose Restore and give Restore opportunity.
So it sounds like you all are doing good, but it's also helping your bottom line. So we love to hear that. And actually, Restore's website has a Get Involved link that if you click on it, there's now an employer engagement, employer opportunities sort of section. So we do want employers to be able to know about that, because you can actually learn a little bit about it there and then just contact us and we will tell you more. But thank you all so much for coming today. We really appreciate it. It's been great to talk to you about your opportunities for the women from Restore.
Yeah,
Thanks.
awesome. You guys, this took